Hello, sages. Welcome to our first ever Lore Academia special. I am DMPaulG. Yes, right now we have a very special guest. Are you excited? I'm very excited. If you can see him right now on screen, uh, we're here to talk about the Moonshade Isles during the Living Forgotten Realms D&D 4th edition. Uh, but yeah, before that, again, welcome to Lore Academia, where we basically try to extract as much lore as we can from adventures, source books, ancient scrolls, and now, since I've leveled up, I was able to summon a high sage myself and see if we can extract as much lore as we can from him. Okay. And yeah, so who is it? Who's the person with us right now? So I'll let him introduce himself. Tell us who you are, what you do now, and during the LFR days, what did you do?
Hello, my name is JP Chapleau. I used to be the LFR writing director for the Moonshade Isles. I now write mostly for First One's Entertainment, which is my company, and we produce right now settings for fifth edition that are based on ancient history, such as look at that! It's almost like they were ready to go.
It's not planned at all.
Olympia, which is based on ancient Greece. We have Akhmet, which is based on ancient Egypt. And this is a premiere. This book is not out yet. It will be out at Gen Con. This is Osaka, which will be inspired by ancient Japan.
Nice.
So, yeah, working hard on those to get mostly Osaka right now and
How
getting everything ready
long
for Gen Con.
how long have you been working on like First One Entertainment?
First One's Entertainment started in October of 2013. So this is the first decade of Foe. So First One's Entertainment Foe. This
Mm-hmm.
is the first decade that's going to end around Gen Con.
Mm-hmm.
Um, long story short, I used to work for a publisher, and I needed products to come out, and we had a different schedule. So I said, hey, we could work together. I could get my stuff out on a more timely manner in my way. He's like, okay, go ahead and do it. So I started, and now a decade later, still roaring. I got now
Nice.
my settings out there. I have some material on the Dungeon Masters DM's Guild, like this one here, The Witches of Pikeman, which is trust me that it's there.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, because I want to check out those settings too, because I think those are the ones that I actually want to play. And for those who are new here or just joining our stream for the first time, as I mentioned, we extract lore as much as we can from different source books, different adventures, and right now we're focusing on the Moonshade Isles. And on our previous streams, we delve into the fourth edition Living Forgotten Realms campaign. And then every time we read an adventure and we see the name JP Chapleau, we get all excited because we know it's gonna be good. And when I rolled a natural 20, and for some reason I got a message, I replied right away. Can you guest in our stream? I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do an interview on stream, but I will figure it out if you say yes. And now here we are, because for our fellow sages who want to learn more about the Moonshade Isles, what happened before fifth edition? What was the setting like? What was the design process, the adventures and stuff? Um, and I guess yeah, we can start there. Like, how did you get to become part of the Living Forgotten Realms Moonshade Isles campaign?
I basically applied for the job in as few words. At the time, Wizards, I was working on the Living Greyhawk campaign, which was started 3.0, then moved to 3.5, and then when fourth edition was not out yet, they say, hey, we're looking for people to edit adventures and serve as point of contacts. And so I had been doing a lot of the plots work in Living Greyhawk before. And so I'm like, well, I mean, I'd like to go into the fourth edition realm, see what that goes. And so I applied for the Moonshade Isles, and surprise, surprise, I was chosen. So I was like all excited.
Did
You
they
know,
did you like say you want to work on the Moonshade Isles, or did they assign that to you? How did that work?
they, if I remember correctly, they assigned that to us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we chose a region. Now, one of the things of Living Greyhawk, you had physical world was assigned to a physical region in the game, in the setting, and you would have these adventures be played only in that region. For example, at the time I was living in Colorado. Colorado was the county of Ernst, so you could only play County of Ernst adventure within a few select states. And when they came up with LFR, the Living Forgotten Realms, they wanted to keep something like that. Uh, it didn't stick around too long, uh, but they started like that. So all of us, like I know Lenny and I were based out of like Colorado, and Michael was in. I'm sure he's gonna kill me, but if I remember, he was either in Kansas or Missouri.
Okay.
So, so he was he was
Was
next state over for us.
all right. And Lenny and Michael, who are they basically?
Lenny was at the time a gamer, an organizer. He was a GM who'd run a lot of things. Awesome for me. Is a great friend of mine. We haven't seen each other for a few years now, but I still look forward to seeing him. Michael was also involved in Living Greyhawk as an admin as well for his region, which was not the same as the one I was running.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, because I think they also wrote Michael Marcus and Leonard Logan. I think they also wrote adventures
yep,
for the Moonshade Isles during LFR. Okay,
yep.
nice one. So you kind of know each other, all right? Like the people who made the adventure. That's good. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when we talk about it, because again, I'm a 5e baby. I played, I don't know, was it third ed or 3.5? I think my first dungeon master is here in chat right now. But we only played like in high school twice or three times, and then that's it. And then had to wait like 20 or so years before I can play D&D again, and now I'm addicted. So but you're saying like organized play before is like you have to
Mm-hmm.
drive to like a physical location to be able to play a location in that part of the
Yeah.
setting.
Yes, they had what was called regional adventures,
Uh-huh.
which were adventures that could only be played in that area, and then they had core regions, which were kind of either in areas that were in between these areas, or sometimes they would go to one of these places. Core you could play anywhere in the world. So like the city of Greyhawk was a core region.
Okay.
Um, but if you were to the county of Ernst with an adventure, it had to be played physically in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, or New Mexico. Like
So I
big
have to
line of
fly
buses.
there, find a gaming group that will run that adventure just so I can
Yep.
experience that. Holy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the cool things is that during those years, there was literally a tourism industry
Yeah.
built around these things. So, you know, I, I have so many adventures that are available to me. Well,
Mhm.
if I drive to the next state over, well, hey, they have like 8 adventure that they publish every year. So, at 8 adventure, there were some meta regionals, which was extra adventures. So I could have like a 20 or so extra adventures that I could play, but I had to go over there. Um, that was, I mean, it had it, for those who were able to do that, that was awesome. It created a
Right.
community like across state lines, across. I even saw like I'm from the province of Quebec, from Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Go Habs. Um, For those who don't know, that's hockey. This is the Montreal
Okay.
team.
Hmm. Yeah.
Canadians. Um, so I did witness some tables where half the players did not speak the language of the other half of the table. I was in
Wow.
Montreal. I had like half the table where people spoke only English, and half the people spoke only French. The GM was able to, understand. I'll say a bit of both.
Uh huh.
Uh, but I, as an organizer, I was walking around and I could see that they were trying to communicate with each other and help, and basically just
Wow.
play. So that absolutely that was one of the great things. Our finale for living Greyhawk in Colorado, I had people come from, um, drove 10 hours in a car from Salt Lake City. Some flew in. One guy flew in from New York. We had some people that drove in from Las Vegas area. Some Texas people. I mean, literally, it was people would coalesce at these events, and they became, your little group of like 20 would balloon up to 50, 60, 70 people. We had
What?
what, 7, 8 tables? We had 8 tables at the end.
Right. And like what Chaos Sammer is saying in chat, like tabletop RPGs literally bringing people together. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, can I just sleep on your couch? Because I need to play this adventure in your area. Stay here for 3 days.
They at the time, well, you could. I mean, I know one guy, Gary. So Gary, if you're listening, you're you're still the legend in my book.
Uh huh.
But he went. He picked with two of his buddies. They logged into an old beat up small Winnebago, and
Mm-hmm.
they went on a 3 week tear, hitting like 4 conventions. And every night, as they would travel, they would stop somewhere and they would play a local adventure. So they would
Nice.
travel for 3 weeks. They would play D&D every night, often in a different location or near a convention. They would stop for the convention for the weekend, 3 days, would leave, drive around. They went from Wisconsin down through Texas, and then they went back up the coast on the East Coast, and then they came back to Wisconsin. And I
Nice.
caught up with him on the last. He was back home, and
Uh
he
huh.
came home the weekend where he had a convention in his hometown.
Nice. All right. Well, shifting from that and going to the Moonshay Isles. Since you
Mm-hmm.
got a job, you applied for it, you got it. There's three of you, together with Mike and Lenny. Uh, the adventures that we have here are actually set in Walsbury, in the
Mm-hmm.
Isle of Alaron, right? And if I remember, like the last time we talked, like you created this village, this town, is that right? And was it
I Yes,
um
that is my addition to the world of the Forgotten Realms. Is the town of Walsburg. Okay, now I
nice?
will take the credit here, but Lenny and Michael were both heavily involved in the creation of the town, what it was, how it was going to be, the Dry Toad Inn.
Mm-hmm.
I think I picked Warlsbury because my original idea was Yarlsbury, and I
Okay.
just changed the letter.
Okay.
So that is something I was doing a lot at the time, which was take a name that either I like or I wanted, and I change a letter, and it would create a whole new name. And
Nice.
that's why Daffod, Brendan with the double E's. Uh, you know, start with a simple name and go to something that looked more exotic for the setting. So
Got it. All right. Well, was it intentional? Because every time we play the adventure or we read like an adventure, there's always a bard performing there. Was that
yes,
intentional or?
that was intentional. There are two things which are always the case anytime you play an adventure in Walsbury. The weather is miserable, so it's typically raining or it's not great. or if it is, then it's because you're going to a place where the weather is going to be miserable. So that's going to happen, and there is a bard. Every time we wanted to have a bard that was different, that brought a different type of entertainment. Uh, you know, in the long term, uh, the idea was that either one of the other regions could pick up one of the bards. So we
Oh.
said, hey, we have this bard that came from Baldur's Gate. Well, in a Baldur's Gate adventure, you could meet the same bard, and that bard would say, well, I was in the Moonshade Isles, and story happens. So not necessarily, create a really tight knit world, but just enough that oh yeah, the little wink, like, oh, I played that adventure where you were the bard that was over there.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that was amazing. It took us like I think the fourth adventure or before we figure out. Wait a second, how come there's a performer here? Again,
Yep.
this is where we start at the Once Dry Toad Inn, and there's a skull, there's a bard, there's like a poet or something, someone doing something, and it
Somebody's
was
there.
crazy. All right, well that's good.
Yep.
And with the weather here, in this part of the Moonshade Isles, was that intentional because you just want to, or is that part of because you read it somewhere in the setting? Do you have access about Moonshade Isles? How much lore do you have access to? Because me, I have to do this. I have to stream and look at all the resource books, find people to find information about the Moonshade Isles. In your during 4E, how was it?
Okay. We didn't have any details. We had even less than you did. So for us, we had the few paragraphs that were written in various editions of the Forgotten Realms book, which is almost nothing. We had the fourth edition version of the book. We had a, a bound version, so it wasn't the actual book yet. It was just a bound, like a spiral
The
bound.
spiral bound. Wow. Okay.
Yep. And it had one paragraph, 3 or 4 sentences on each of the area. So, for example, your favorite Moray. Moray is ruled by lycanthropes. Humans out there are on the defensive foot, and things are not going well. That's about what it was. It wasn't very much more detailed than that. As a adventure writer, this is the plus and the minus. It's great because now I can build off of that and create some extra. Minus is, well, I have
Oh, no.
3 sentences to build up from, which was actually one of the reasons for Walsbury. So in 4th edition, especially early on when 4th edition came out, they had a concept that they were talking about, which was the points of light. It's something that's always been kind of there, but it was never as clearly defined. A point of light is a place in the world where you're kind of safe, and things are defined. But as soon as you leave the point of light, the world is there for you adventurers to explore.
Oh, I see.
So, if you've ever played like a West March campaign, or that's kind of your starting town. Especially early on, they really pushed that. Later, it kind of fell off a little bit as they moved to other things. But still, Walsbury is that point of light.
Right.
So you go over there, the place is defined, the place is clear. You don't really have too many problems or issues in town. Heck, even Nature's Wrath takes you out of town as soon as you've investigated and asked people. Oh, they're the pirates over there. There's the goblins and the wolves over there. Not in town.
Mm-hmm.
The town is safe.
Quote unquote safe. Yeah.
Down the road, we could have an adventure that would have been set in Walsbury where the giants attack or whatever. But Walsbury was effectively safe from there. Like these characters, Brendan MacLear, his wife, Daffod, Well,
Well,
Daffod,
Daffod, I don't know about Daffod. I
Daffod
have
was something else.
I have questions about Daffod, but I'm saving it. All right, but yeah, you know what? For having this point of light concept and starting every adventure in Walsbury, you like and the team did a great job of like exploring the moonshades because we went on different islands. We went to Moray, we went to Gwynedd, we're able to go to Snowdown as well, right? And I think briefly, like in one adventure, we touched base in Oman, I think, or something, just kind of
Yep.
rest a bit in
Sea Drake.
Oman. Yep. And yeah, and to your point a while ago, like you only have 3 sentences to build on, and like in Moray, that it's a dangerous place, and you were able to deliver that message. It became like a meme here that nobody cares about Moray, and how scary, how scary that place is. Like you don't want to stay if there's like free real estate in Moray. Don't accept it because you're just gonna die there. And we got that you were able to deliver that fear, that feeling through the adventures that you and the 4E LFR team created. So that's awesome. I'm just kind of fanboying right now. That's basically what I'm doing, and I'm trying to ask the questions if I can. But
Ego.
ego, go. I'm here to feed it because, no, to be honest, after reading the Living Forgotten Realms, how amazed I was, and hopefully the people that were the sages that were with me during that time were grateful that those adventures came out and happy because now we don't have to rely on 3 sentences when building something, right?
And yeah, that is one of the cool things about the Forgotten Realms is that you have all this lore that carries over from
Right.
different edition. Even if time moves on, you still can go back and okay, well, like 40 years ago this happened, and then 20 years ago then this happened, and and the Moonchase, nothing really happened. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, what we did in 4th edition and what is being done now for the Adventure League is the only thing that will ever happen to the Moonshade.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things why we're streaming. We're trying to make people aware about the Moonshades because it's not Waterdeep, it's not Neverwinter, it's not Baldur's Gate. Like things happen in the Sword Coast, but if you just travel west, you'll find this group of islands, but they don't really tell you what happened there during every edition, right? They barely tell you.
I mean, even during 4th edition was the time where you had Aber-Toril, kind of the two worlds kind of clashed together, and some countries were thrown out, and some others were dropped in, and that was the justification for bringing in all the Dragonborn and all the Tieflings, and wasn't too big a fan, to be honest, about that. But the Moonshades were like,
oh, that happened?
Yeah, what's wrong with you guys? Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just left the island of Oman to the giants, and we left that island, Moray, to the lycanthropes. But no, not even Abir wants to come here. And we're like, nope, we'll stay over there.
All right. Yeah, but to be fair, now there's like a lot of lore is in a Moonshades, and one of them is like the Earth Mother. During 4th edition, who is the Earth Mother? Were you given any information about that, or?
The Earth Mother in 4th edition is Shantea.
Oh.
Originally, the Earth Mother was a different, and I'm talking like Dark Walker on Moonshade, like the Moonshade trilogy.
Right. Which is hard to find.
The Earth Mother was her own, the local goddess. She was not Shantea. 3rd edition, I don't really remember, but I think the lines kind of blurred. 4th edition, they're like, no, Shantea is called the Earth Mother here. Okay, so now we have like 2 more sentences to go in detail.
Oh, right.
So it is that, and we know that the Northlander worship Tempest.
Right.
So Those are the two main deities. They really try to clean it up, and streamline a lot of things in fourth edition, which some parts worked well, some parts didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when they went back to fifth edition, they kind of did some of the cleaning. They kind of reined it back a little bit, so it
Right.
wasn't as.
Now Shantaea is basically like the primal spirit of the land of the Moonshays, and to some, it may be Shantaea. Who know? Nobody really knows. Basically, they make it vague, So
Yeah, she could be like the archfey that you have the warlock pack with,
Right.
or she could be Shantaea. And
who knows?
I'll admit to you, I love the vagueness of this.
Uh-huh.
It's great because instead of a definitive, she's Shantaea by another name, then
Right.
But now, is she just like a primal, earthly spirit, or is she the goddess? Is she an aspect of Shantaea, or is she just some other deity that we mortals have not understood? But we're like, what she's telling us that she is very much like Shantaea,
Right.
which makes it me as an adventure writer. At that point, I'm like, ooh, I can play on this uncertainty, where I could have like a druid that comes from Waterdeep, whose goal is to prove definitively Shantaea is the Earth Mother, and then he comes, and then in my adventure, well, chances are I would leave it as something. I don't want to say loose, but kind of unclear. Did he find? Well, he's going to find some things that you could say yes, and things that you could say no, and you leave the player to make the decision of which is it. Now, if you're able to accomplish that as an adventure writer, you can pat yourself on the back. It's hard to do.
I know. Yes. Yes.
But once you do it, it's like, okay, I've done it. Which is it? Who's really the good guy? It's like,
Were you given like a year? Like, what timeline are you guys in during that?
I don't remember.
The Forgotten Realms.
I do not remember. There was a year. I mean, it's like almost 15 years ago now. It was current year of the LFR campaign.
I see. All right, that we have to research then. Yeah, fellow sages, we have to research that. And again, more on the lore, because we want all the. There's a lot of interesting characters and villains here, and with Daffyd. All right, Daffyd, that's stupid kid. That's what I want to say. Why don't? Because he went out. So Daffyd, what was his last name? McClear? Was it
McClear?
Yes. So he's like the son of the chieftain of Walsbury. And then he's also like the grandson of one of the Northlander kings. Yeah, right?
Yep. King Ragnar.
King Ragnar. And then he started going on a journey on one of the adventures.
Sea Drake.
The Sea Drake adventure. And then he went to Moray trying to be a hero. And we were like, we know what's in Moray. Do not go there. Like, as soon as you get out of Caladir, now we call it like Caer Caladir. Oh, okay. What's this?
Caer Moray.
Caer Moray. As soon as you get beyond those walls, you're dead. All right. So why are you going there? Why are you helping out the people in Moray?
Well, there is one big concept which is not unique to RPGs, but if you write adventures or a setting in RPGs, show don't tell. Don't tell players that a longsword hurts. Hit them over the head with it multiple times. They will get the idea. So if I just tell you that Moray is dangerous,
right.
I send you to Moray, I force maroon you on Moray, I tell you got to go across land to go over there. If you've read the book, you're like, and I remember watching your face when you were like going over the adventure, like, what? Like, why would you go across land? At the time, a lot of people didn't know about Moray. Like, the fact that Moray fell to the lycanthropes
Mm-hmm.
was new in 4th edition. That was one of the new changes that they had.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't, before, yeah, you had lycanthropes and it was kind of like that Irish-y mix, but it wasn't, the lycanthropes are running the show and then everybody else is running to save their rear ends. We had to show it. How do I show it to you? Well, why would a player ever leave the city gates if I leave them out inside the city gates? Of course I'm not going to do that. I'm going to
Right.
send you outside and tell you, go and tell these dudes that we're coming. Like, we're going to sail. So little Daffod goes ahead and does it. And now when he goes back later in Black Blood, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he went there in the Sea Drake, and with the party fights.
Mm-hmm.
This is where JP went off script, doing things he should not be doing.
Just
All right,
tell us.
so don't
We will
tell
not
anybody.
tell. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just me and you. I ran this adventure. I think it was me and Michael and Lenny. We rode this adventure a couple of times for a 1 or 2 weekends, and whatever was decided at that weekend was what happened to the characters. One of the questions I had was, what did the players tell to Daffod? So the players, after the Sea Drake, they kind of walked around and they kind of like talked bravado of like, we beat the snot out of them. These things are not tough. They're not dangerous. Ha ha ha. Anybody could take them. I think out of like, we had like 4 tables. 3 tables did that.
Okay.
They kind of came back and they just kind of bragged that, oh yeah, these things are easy. You just walk in, you just beat them up. They're not that dangerous.
Uh-huh.
You're going to tell that to, as you said, a young kid, not necessarily Mr. Super Wisdom. Well, he's going to get some ideas.
Yep. And he did. And encountered these Black Blood, right?
Yep. And then 104, Black Blood. Well, you know what? Let's go and beat them up because I know we can take them out. Thank you, playtesters.
Wow. All right. So now we know who to blame because of David's actions. All right.
Now,
was it?
We
Yeah.
weren't supposed to do that. We were supposed to wait for. There was a reporting system,
Uh-huh.
and some of the questions that we asked, came in like months later. Like before we got the feedback, came in months later, and we were bound by that. And I don't think like what did you tell Daffod was one of those questions. So that's why we were able to. Well, I just went ahead and just wrote the next adventure.
Got
at
it.
the time.
Got it.
So
Was the Black Blood tribe like was that given information by Wizards of the Coast if it just started in 440?
Yep.
Okay.
They were the Black Bloods were in charge of Moray. They were the number one. I don't think this was written in there, but this was how I took it. The Black Bloods were the biggest, most powerful tribe of lycanthropes and Malorites. So they're the Black Bloods. They're the ones who are the most powerful. But there would be other cults. There would be other subcults. There would be other tribes of we have orcs in there.
Right.
So there are other people living there, but they're all effectively under the control of the Black Bloods.
Right. And one of those things that kind of not clear to us, and yeah, I got you, Sages, if you're in chat. Yeah, during our review of the Living Forgotten Realms adventures, and if you're here and you're hearing spoilers, yeah, I'm gonna warn you now. There's a lot of spoilers happening because we're discussing the whole Living Forgotten Realms campaign. So yeah, if you're Lore Academia, there will be spoilers. But the question here is
You're
Um,
12 years too late here, people. So just so you know, like, you know, yeah,
w-
it
w-
doesn't count as spoilers after 12 years.
right,
Okay.
but White Scar, the purple dragon, is he
Mhm.
or this dragon? Are they the leader of the Black Blood tribe or no?
He was a leader of the area near now Moray.
Mm-hmm.
So he was not the overall leader. He was like the regional director, if you
All right,
will.
just kill like
And
a manager or something, or like a
yeah,
Black Blood.
and with and with one of the things is that during the adventure, if he dies, uh, you know you've destabilized the Black Blood tribe and their unity in that area. So you're basically taking the head off the snake. So at that point, what happens when you kill a great evil? Well, typically the lesser evil start. Well, you have the clerics of Malar going, "Hey, we're in charge," and the lycanthropes are like, "No, we're in charge," and then the orcs are like, "Rabble, rabble, rabble," and then for a while they're not as cohesive, which gives the defender a chance to breathe. Okay, well now we can rebuild our things because they're not just attacking us; they're attacking each other. Let's
Wow.
rebuild the wall. That was my approach. This was what what I was seeing. Oh, well,
Uh
these
huh.
guys over there, well, we're more powerful than them. Rabble, rabble, let's go beat them up, and they would fight each other.
Okay.
So that was kind of the idea.
So you're
Another
telling me?
reason why
Yeah, go
why
ahead. Go
he's
ahead.
not
No. Hmm.
another reason why he's not the big boss. One of the directives that we had during LFR was that we were not to topple or change the order of any major groups. So, whoever's really the top guy in charge of the Black Bloods during and Living Forgotten Realms adventure, we could not have him be killed. So, something would happen. He could show up and go grrr and then leave, but we were not to have the party go. Let's go kill the hell of that, or let's go kill the king of the folk, King. I can't remember
Darren.
the first name.
Darren
Kendrick.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Darren Kendrick.
Yeah.
We can't go and kill him. We have a story. Oh, we would need a king to be killed. Well, we would introduce a new king, and that king would be the one getting killed. Named main characters were effectively untouchable.
Got
That's
it.
why we didn't start in Caer Caladir ever. Like we
Mm.
said, no, we're going to go to Warlsbury, which is something that we can control.
Right.
If somebody comes up with a great idea where the idea is, what? I need the leader of the place to get killed. Sorry, Brandon, you just got whacked. Because that wasn't one of the major characters. Um, one of the things of Living Greyhawk is that there was a lot of regime changes.
Mm-hmm.
So a new group of admins would come in. Well, everybody that the previous admins were running mysteriously got whacked, and then a new group were being set.
Uh huh.
Oh well, wait a minute. Well, let's. Oh, we're now the same three guys. Oh, we don't like these characters. We're gonna whack them all and put some new ones in place. Um,
Got it.
that didn't happen everywhere, but that was something they wanted to avoid, and I can understand it. I really like the idea. Let's not kill the king. Kill everybody around them, but not the named king.
Oh man, I wonder if that rule still applies today. Hmm.
Oh, well, it's the Moonshades,
I hope there's
so
no like Wizard of the Coast employee watching us right now, looking at me like, "Don't you dare do it, Paul." But
well,
s-
I mean, if you can come up with you know, the thing about killing these characters is that now you have a problem of what is in the book versus what's in the adventure. So
right.
everything before it's not. So the king could be kidnapped, and then you get rescued. Okay, that's fine. But if you kill him or you somehow send him to Dimension X where he cannot come back, well, now the books are. It's a
Yep.
pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the problems I personally have with Forgotten Realms. The
Right.
itchy and scratchy concept of, where every author who writes a trilogy or an adventure or something seem to want to leave an indelible mark on the world,
Oh
something
yes.
that is so massive. Oh yeah, well we destroyed Waterdeep 5 times. Well, the next guy goes, well, I'm going to destroy it 6, and the next goes 6. I'm going to do it 12. And I'm going to destroy Cormyr, and I'm going to destroy Anna. It's the
Mm-hmm.
itchy and scratchy. If you
You're
remember
right.
that old classic Simpson itchy and
Mm-hmm.
scratchy skits where one of them walks up with a knife and the other one gets a bigger knife, and then there's a gun, and then they start
Yep.
pointing guns until all you have is a planet with like 2 guns pointing at each other. I think that's what they wanted to avoid. That is, I run my settings now. I have a little more freedom to go ahead and whack or have some kings and named characters killed. I try not to, like, because now, okay, well, oh, you come to a game, oh, the king of this town is Bob. Oh well, no, well, like 2 Gen Cons ago we killed Bob.
Right. Right.
So you create your characters, you create your point of light, and then you can put what you want. And if you need to destroy the point of light, the overall settings, the Forgotten Realms is not destroyed.
Yeah. Wow. These are like gems. Like we're learning right again. It's a good thing I level up. I was able to summon a high stage. These bits of knowledge that we're hearing right now. These are gold. But going back to Moray, White Scar is not the leader of the Black Blood tribe. Do you
Nope,
know who it is? Was it mentioned? Is it?
I do not remember.
Ah, come on. All right.
Uh, that being said, I'm pretty sure that my 3 sentences did not mention that.
Okay.
Um, it may have. I mean, I try to look at where my books are, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't find them.
You can't find. I'm sure there's like a lot of stuff here. All right.
I
In the
moved. I
background of a
moved a few
sea.
times since
Mm-hmm.
then. So
All right. What else do I have? All right. So one of the villains is White Scar, and then we
yes.
have a recurring villain in this LFR campaign for the Moonshade Isles, the Fisherman. All right.
Mhm.
Which is again one of my favorites, if not my favorite villain here in 4E. We're always excited when we know the fisherman is gonna be here. What is he planning? Like since like the first adventure, since that bard who just got thrown into jail in Nature's Wrath adventure, that poor
Mhm.
bard, the fisherman was already involved, right? Uh, so tell us about the fisherman. Like, did you are you the one that created the fisherman? What's the concept about what's his goal supposedly and stuff?
The fisherman. The fisherman was created by. It was one of us three.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, likely, I may have had a basic idea and say, okay, guys, I need a name that sounds non-threatening, that you can sign letters from. If you sign your letters like the ultimate Lord of Evil, okay, that's
Right.
pretty obvious. The fisherman. Who's the fisherman?
Yeah, that's what we were asking when we were reading the
You're
adventure.
you're you're in a place full of islands. Like, who's the fisherman? Well, there's him, and there's him, and there's him. No, with a capital F. Well, he's folk, so he would use 2 Fs, and so we wanted somebody like that. Uh, Going back to fourth edition introduced one way to gain experience was what they called the major quests.
Okay.
Major quests in is a concept that it's been transformed. Really going to milestones now. You accomplish something in a larger adventure. You reach a milestone, then you effectively assumed to have done something important. In fourth edition, they had these major quests, and in LFR, all of these quests had like 3 parts. So you had to do 3 adventures that were part of the quest
Right.
to give you the completion of the quest. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you had, hey, well, I played, Nature's Wrath and this one and the finale one, I'm going to trade it in for my XP bonus. So that was one of the ways I wanted to have. I needed a villain that could be used kind of all over the place. So I didn't want somebody that was too close to the action, too close to Walsbury, so he would know everything. But I wanted somebody who would be connected enough to have links and ties to things that happens. So we're going to talk about the fisherman more, but I wanted somebody like that,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who I could take and have him send envoys to Moray, send envoys to Gwyneth, somebody who could send envoys to Oman, see if he could organize again local deals. Not he's not forming even though in his mind he's forging an empire,
Right.
but I'm going to start with getting, like this little local lord to be on my side and this and that. And that was the idea of the fisherman. I wanted somebody who could be kind of a mastermind type of villain.
Right.
And that's why he shows up. And again, I didn't tell you that the sword was sharp. I hit you over the head multiple times with it. Oh, there's pirates. They're poisoning the water.
Right.
What do you mean? Why are these Snowdownians speaking with White Scar? We brought them a couple of times, a couple of ways into the story,
Mm-hmm.
and now you. At some point, people as you're reading, you're going, "Wait a minute, it's the same guy as that."
Right. And when it was revealed that he's like a Raksasha, right? He's what's his name? Kasharak, I think.
Yep.
And then we get to the final adventure where he appeared, went to Snowdown, and he had to face Lady Erliza, which is like the viceroy of Westphal, right? And like you have a mastermind
Great.
villain. Yeah, that's why I fell in love with the fisherman and like the story, because you have a mastermind here, and like, damn it, JP or whoever created all these adventures, because from adventure 1 the fisherman already has his hands dirty. And then we go to the adventure where they go to Snowdown, and we see that this mastermind is trying to go against another, kind of like super smart strategist, mastermind villain as well. All right.
And that's the reason I liked putting that in Snowdown, was because people who had read the book
Mm-hmm.
knew what Lady Eliza is,
Right.
and that how she is Machiavellian and how she is manipulative.
Right.
So that people assume that, wait a minute, we're going to Snowdown. Lady Eliza is there. Why can't she be the fisherman?
Right.
Now we have a bit of
Oh
hindsight,
my
but at the
God!
time, like, wait a minute.
Is she really the fisherman? Is this part of her plan all along?
The no, it is Kasharak was the fisherman.
All right. All right.
But again, if you've read the book, you know that she is a master politician, that she's
Exactly.
trying to extend her influence, and everything the fisherman has done. If you just say it's Lady or Liza, it still works. There it is, huh? That's the surprise here.
Mind blown. All right.
That was the idea, because the adventure. You go to see that. I think it's Jules was the name of the innkeeper, and you don't know that he's the fisherman until basically late.
Right.
But you walk in and go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, nice surprise.
Wow. And that adventure, they have to decide if like they're going after the fisherman or Lady or Liza, like who are they gonna team up with and who are they gonna kill? What made you
Yeah,
decide in that process of you
I
know?
this is a process that I was refining. Actually, I had refined, I think, during Living Greyhawk, and that I still kept during my tenure in LFR. And now, when I write my stuff, that is a concept that what I
Mm-hmm.
call the non-trivial choice.
Mm-hmm.
When writing an adventure, you always must provide. At one point in the adventure, the party must make a choice that cannot be resolved by my alignment is good or I'm chaotic neutral and I don't care. Meaning,
All right.
uh, I will take the extreme example. So you have gone on this major quest. You find the object that can save the universe. Do you give it to the lawful good order of paladins or to the really shifty wizard thieves guild?
Mm-hmm.
Which would you do?
Just the Thieves Guild, right? Because they're fun. They're fun to be
Okay,
with.
well, for story purposes and for as an adventure writer, you're right. That is the right answer. As a player who cares for the setting, maybe not. Okay, that is actually
Now it has been revealed. Like my true alignment has been revealed by JP Chapleau. I'm so it is me, the fisherman, all along.
aha. You're on the
Right.
island of Snowdown, are you?
All right. Okay.
Well, this is actually quite completely the opposite of what I'm trying to prove. At that point, most people will go, we could keep the universe safe. Most likely, the Order of Paladins would be the better choice to give it to.
Right. Of
Right?
course.
If you're looking at creating story potential, you're right. But, you've been through this major quest and you've saved all these people and you finally got the object. Now, if I tell you that, the only order of paladins they're kind of a fallen order, and
Mm-hmm.
that many of them have been kind of corrupted by some devils, so they're not they're not as clean. And the thieves guild, well, they're in league with different, the major the lich, she's in league with the local goblin lords. At that point the choice doesn't become as obvious. It's, well, I could keep it myself. Okay, sure, keep it yourself and start adventuring with the artifact that everybody wants. See how
Right.
long you're going to live. That's could be one choice. But then the other is like, well, which one of those two flawed target I can give? Well, you're going to see, in uh, I can't remember the last name. Black, whatever the last name of the last episode where you meet the fisherman.
Right.
You are being asked to surrender now, that you are to be taken to the viceroy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you've been told so far and that you may have seen tells you that she is not a good person.
Right.
She's not. But the other way, everything has showed you that everybody here follows the law. And if you follow the law, you're going to be okay. Non-trivial choice. We can fight the guards to meet this innkeeper. We don't know where he is. Or we could go with the guards to meet somebody we're pretty sure is a bad guy. You have that choice in there. In Black Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Black Blood. Do you tell Daffod, no, kid, we're gonna go?
No.
Or do you say, go ahead, kid, go get yourself killed?
No, we want to stop him. Like, why? And then why are you bringing us there? with you. You know what? Let's just stay here in Walsbury and the ones dry-toed in, and listen to the bards sing.
Yep.
And that's it. But yeah, that was really, it was amazing. And again, I don't. What's this? Or I'm happy because again, these adventures exist because we have something to build on. And it's a bit difficult because you created this story with the fisherman, and that. All right, but all we did, we start making the fisherman do all these things, and then if you go to Snowdown, you put the blame on Lady Eliza, it will still work. And or once you go to Snowdown, Lady Eliza knows what the fisherman is doing. Right? She's one step, probably a few steps ahead of the fisherman, and that's like, I thought the fisherman is the villain, but we have like
he is.
Yeah, but there's something like worse than him, like White Scar, and then fisherman, and then you have Lady Eliza.
And this is one of the things that why I love writing about evil characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will eat themselves up.
Right.
It's all I used to love, like in early editions, Paladin were always lawful good. Evil has the endless hordes of everything, but good has the Paladin. So, I always hated the idea of the anti-Paladin because, well, the one thing that good has, you're going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like endless hordes of good. No, it's endless hordes of orcs and goblins and lycanthropes and things, versus that one paladin who's standing, over there, with the light shining over there, and he's like, "Yep, come on, let me draw my sword. We're gonna do this."
All right.
I've always been a big fan of that. Like, it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
When you write evil, again, as in Black Blood, once you take out anybody who's holding cohesiveness, there's a race to the top.
Okay.
So different factions who are now, all working together, now they can start trying to get to the top. The Godfather movie, that's, once Don Vito gets killed, there's a race to get, who's going to take over his empire, and then they start fighting over each other, and then Michael comes over and
Right.
gets it done.
I was about to say spoilers, but yeah, it's been a long time since that movie came out, so yeah.
50 years. Okay, if you don't know by now.
He dies. But yeah, and again, that brought up like a lot of inspiration, because again, I don't know if I told you, but right now my job is I'm one of the storyline coordinators for Baldman Games for the Moonshade Owls. So now we're trying to do what you did in LFR, and when we got these writers, we got a concept in, and then one of the writers, I'm not sure if he's here on chat, but he's, hey, there's an adventure that tells about this particular island in the Moonshades in 4th edition, and I was like, what? And then start looking at start reading one after the other on stream, and then just start to fall in love with the story and everything, even the characters. Because again, you're annoyed at Daffod, but he's trying to be a hero. You look at this purple dragon is the one that's leading the lycanthropes. What? And then you have the fisherman all of a sudden faces Lady Eliza, and then, all right, no, you're not gonna win in like a game of chess with me. Boy. So that was yeah, here we go. Britty boy is here. So yeah, it's amazing after reading all of that. And then I see that in this website where we got the adventure, that they're supposed to be the ones that we got is Moon 1-1 until Moon 1-7, and then there's Moon 2-1, and then it's listed there that there's Moon 2-2 and Moon 2-3, but there's no author, there's no I don't know if there's a title there. And then I sent a tweet to Sean Merwin because I see that in other adventures in LFR, Sean Merwin's name is there, and he said that there's no, from what he knows, there's no draft or anything. It has never seen the light of day. I want to make sure, since you're here right now, does Moon 2-2 and Moon 2-3 in the LFR Moonshade campaign exist? Alright.
That's a complicated question.
That was long.
Moon
yeah.
2-2 exists on my hard drive.
Okay.
As an extended outline.
All right.
Moon 2-3 exists on my hard drive as a 2-line outline. Same as Moon 2-4 and Moon 2-5 also have like a one-liner of what they were supposed to be.
There's a Moon 2-4 and Moon 2-5?
Yeah. I mean, I had to work, we had to provide ahead of time our adventures to get approved by the review team.
Okay.
So those were sent out long in advance. Even though the writing itself could get a little closer to the release date, getting the approvals and that had to be done about 6 months in advance.
Okay.
Before you actually even write an adventure, get the format and start writing, it was about 6 months. And one of my job was to make sure that these stories kept moving down the pipe. So I had to keep in touch with whoever my reviewer was, and I think it was Sean, or Sean was involved in that. At this point,
right. The reviewer is supposed to be from Wizards of the Coast, or it's also just like
there was somebody where there was like a reviewer, like an Inner Circle, or I know in Living Greyhawk they were called like the Circle of 8, but they had a different name in Living. I think the Campaign Admins or something.
Okay.
Like that is their name.
Got it.
And they had to be. They were actual Wizards, either employees or contractors. People like me were all volunteers. So, I kept up the storyline moving, and you try to start setting up the links to the future. So, a few years down the road, you could say, hey, you know what? Well, there's this druid that you saved in Nature's Wrath. Well, now he's over here, and the fisherman ran to Baldur's Gate, but now he comes back as this other guy, and whatever the story is, and however we want it to go. So set up what I call your campaign mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Your campaign mythologies are the characters of your campaign. So it's not Tempest and the Earth Mother. We're talking Brendan McLear, his wife Brunhild, Daffyd, Ragnar, the leader of Kaer Morhen, who's always telling you that nobody cares about Kaer Morhen.
Exactly. I think we have that. Yeah.
Hadarai, the elf Alarai Eloriandir, those were the campaign mythology that later on we could start hooking into, and we did hook into it. So Hadarai just shows up. He just has a talk with with Daffyd, and then he leaves in Seadrake. He comes back later, when you're going to like that weird Feywild adventure that we worked with Baldur's Gate. So that was a series of adventure that I worked with the guy with Otavio, who was from Brazil, and the Baldur's Gate guy. So we had like a major quest that kind of crossed our two storylines. That's why there are some things which when you were going over it, you're going like, what the heck is that? Well, the Baldur's Gate explained that, into more detail.
Got it.
Our, you see, one of the things they really wanted these adventures to be as streamlined as possible. Uh, One of the decisions that I didn't like, was they really wanted to have, just focus on combat or skill challenges. When people are, things that I was told, which I disagreed with and still do, is if the PCs aren't rolling dice, they're not doing anything important.
Uh-huh.
Well, no. There are storyline parts where just interacting with the NPCs, is important. Why are we here is important. And they did that, they kind of set themselves up to have kind of these adventures that were like, when you read them, it's a long series of combats, and then like one little paragraph that says, well, when they're done, the PCs go to this other town.
Got it. And
It had some, the potential is there. Just take some time, explain it. Why are we here? What are we trying to do? When are we talking to someone is not trivial. I mean, some players are there just to talk. They don't want to go ahead and, I'm going to make a diplomacy check. I'm going to persuade him. Tell me now. What are you asking the guy? Like just have a quick talk. Let that DM do these funny voices. Let that happen. Now, let's not just that happen, but let that happen. In 5e combats were general, and 4e combats were generally not. You can't avoid them.
oh, really?
Combats are going to happen.
Okay.
They were going to happen. Like the idea of, okay, well, we're going to come up with a plan and we're going to do some good checks and things. Unless the adventurers provided you with a skill challenge where you could bypass the combat was happening.
Okay.
So a lot of the ways that, I think that we're, people for the Adventure League are writing adventure now is much more interesting because now my creativity is rewarded. Okay, well, guys, I have like Pass Without Trace, so, we're going to cast that and we're going to go around and, I'm going to cast that and you cast Silence so we can cover the Clinkety Clan.
Nice. Yeah.
Clinkety Cans. And we're just going to go around these goblins. We don't need to fight this horde. They're not part of our adventure. Well, the GM goes, well, there goes 4 pages of my adventure. Okay, so you continue on, and great. You've used some resources, did some cool things. Keep moving. I think 4E lost some of that, and that's why a lot of people didn't like it, because, I'm just going to roll dice, and then if I roll well, the GM will tell me what happens. I kind of have a sour taste in my mouth for many of these decisions that, to me could have still make it better. That being said, this is my opinion. A lot of people loved 4th edition.
I got it.
I mean, I was out.
It's not for everyone.
No.
Even 5th edition and older editions. Yeah. People will like it. People will hate it. Yeah.
Well, again, I think I told you, like, one of the problems of 4th edition is that if you want to play a Wood Elf rogue whose main weapon is a bow, you can't do it in 4th edition. Actually, you can, but none of your powers will activate.
Oof.
Like, none.
Okay.
So, nope, you can't sneak attack. You can't do any of these goodies. Like, nope. There were specific weapons you had to use with, like a dagger or a rapier. Yeah, your GM can kind of fiat that, but if you rules as written, it's pretty clear. A Wood Elf rogue does not use a bow.
But yeah, I want to make sure, because our fellow sages want to make sure that this is asked. Will we able to see the contents of Moon 202 or Moon 203 or whatever, or like, will it be published in DM's Guild someday and fleshed out, or Uh, can we? Can you share anything about what happened and or what it's about, or a title, or anything about these non-existing adventures, basically,
Oh, I
right?
feel I should leave you waiting a little longer there.
Where like this is
Uh,
like we need to get JC because we need to know like there are two adventures that are blank. We need to know what happened. So-
I can tell you. It was to be called Dark Lords of Oman. It was for Tier 2. Now, 4th edition, you had Tier 1, which was one level 1 to 10. Tier 2 was 2 to 11 to 20. And Tier 3, which was the epic tier, was 20 to 30.
wow.
So 4th
Okay.
edition had a 30 level gaps, and you had these three main bands. Going up a band was a big deal.
Mm,
So that's like in 5th edition, once you start getting those third level spells,
right.
that's a sincere bump of power. And then when you get that to that 11th level and you get those 6th level spells, that level bump
Yes.
bumps up again.
Mm-hmm.
So the 1 to 10 is about 1 to 4, 1 to 5 ish. With not really, but kinda. Actually, it's about that 1 to 7, 1 to 8 is about what the tier 1 was for in
Right.
5th edition. That second tier is about from level 8, 9 ish to level about that 17.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and then the others are epic levels where the sun keeps falling down, things keep exploding every day.
All right.
So
So the Dark Lords of
uh,
Oman is Moon 2 supposedly.
yes.
All right.
Well, let me open it up here. I mean,
Yeah, share everything you can share to us, fellow sages. We're hungry for knowledge. Feed us.
uh, I see here. When Moonshavian sailors and a high-ranking Elandrin nobles are missing, adventurers may find that the answers are much larger than the questions. And then part 2 of the Giants of Oman major quest. This adventure features blah blah blah. Actually, this adventure was the first one where we would allow an all Fey party in uh, Gwyneth at the time. In our 3 sentences, was closed off to all non-Fey.
Right.
So you had elves, Eladrin, but you did not have the that one open place where humans can go and trade. So that's why it was one of the of the theme that we had with Daffod meeting that Elandrin
Eladrin, yeah.
Adorai. That's why he goes and meet him, and then they kind of, what? Well, let's see if we can get a deal together and keep it hush hush. I'm
Yep.
not going to tell my boss. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
tell your boss, but we're going to profit from that.
Okay.
That was the reason for that
Mm-hmm.
kind of subplot. When we moved into 5th edition, now it's a little more relaxed
Yes.
than it was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, at the time, I had 6 adventure to produce a year. I had 6. That was it. If I did everything on time, I could get a 7th, which is why we got Moon 1-7. But otherwise, you only had 6 adventure. And you had to worry about the level bands as well. So that's why the level bands were mostly assigned to us, but there was a little bit of play there. I really need the adventure for this level.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with some of the other regions and say, well, did we get? That's why there's some wonkiness, and I mean, really, you should just leave it simple, guys. Just leave it simple. Just let's do the 1-4. Let's do a couple of those, and then go up levels instead of immediately going up in levels. And this is me like griping now. But I mean, you had a number of regions. storyline started, and you didn't see any of the major quests for 20 adventures. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, did I do that? Oh, wait a minute. Now you started looking through your piles of
We got
paper
it.
and go, oh yeah, that's a major quest. What was that major quest about?
Yep,
What
and
that
nobody remembers anymore. Uh, are there any like other, since yeah, we now know the Dark Lords of Oman.
let,
It's supposedly
let me
immune
get
to.
back to the second part of your questions before you move on.
All right.
Could this ever appear on the DM's Guild? It is possible.
Okay.
I have the outline that I worked on. So, if an admin were to contact me to extend the story after Gen Con, I could potentially work on that and getting that done and out.
So are you saying
Wink, wink.
potentially if there's a storyline coordinator that's working on the Moonshay Isles and contacts
Mhm.
JP Chapleau, hey, remember this, the Dark Lords of Oman thing? Do you want to expound on that and probably write a 4-hour adventure about it? Or, you know, the fisherman, is he still alive or really dead? Do you want to continue that and clear that up to our players? Does that
Yes,
mean
that that could be done on both cases.
you heard it here? You heard it here. So,
Scoop.
Yep. So just wait, fellow sages. Soon it will happen. Hopefully, if the stars align and the sun doesn't fall on us, then we might be able to see these like missing adventures in the future. Like, uh, that's awesome. That's awesome because again, I keep saying this is like a big source of inspiration now for me, and kind of like boosted me into like writing Moonshay Adventures after reading the LFR adventures. Is there any other like lore or any stuff, any juicy knowledge that you happen to chance upon during your days in LFR that never seen the light of day? And anything.
The Fomorian King, Guts Pure the Nasty. Uh,
Okay. Gut
he's a
spewer the
Fomorian.
nasty. Yeah, all right. We have that. Okay, the Fomorian King. Nice. Okay.
Uh, in short, actually, other than things that were discussed at the time,
Mm-hmm.
uh, short version is no. Uh, I like to make sure that the players are the ones who see, who are able to experience the world, who are able to impact the world. So I I work very much on a need to need need by need basis.
Right.
That means professional deformation.
Go.
By daytime, I'm a software developer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One of the things that I learned after many, 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 many things that I've done wrong is don't write what you don't need. So, the KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid.
Mm.
With that means that until you're gonna need an Eladrin Noble, don't design an Eladrin Noble. Until you're going to need that Fey evil trickster that's like a mastermind or local villain, don't design that character. It sounds, I could see a bunch of GMs going like, But how would I know?
The programmer sages here. We have like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Pro gamers. Yeah.
If your adventure doesn't need it, and there's not one that's already defined, don't define it. Why that? Because if you later have a better idea, you're not bound by an idea that never made it to paper. Now, that being said, there's always a few things that you know you're going to need. That's why Walsbury was defined ahead of time. We had the three main characters, we had the innkeepers, we had a story about the inn. We had a few things that we had defined that we knew we were going to use in our adventure. The Guinera, the unicorn. These are things we knew we were going to use. All right. Now we're going to write. Well, I could start thinking about, well, what about this really weird lycanthrope guy who's like from Moray and like, but if he never makes it to the adventure, I just wasted my time. We're approaching this here as an adventure writer. It's the same thing. If you're a GM and you run your home game, until your character, your party kind of decides, you know what, we're going to take our ship and head on to Moray. Yeah, then you may need that. But if you did your job right, remember, you hit them on the sword a few times, they don't want to go there. But you don't want to go there, and you didn't even play the LFR adventures.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a little bit different. Really, this one here is specifically as a writer. So as a writer, and pretty much as an admin in an organized play, don't design it. Keep yourself open until you need it. We designed the fisherman ahead of time. Why? We needed the fisherman from day one. Who's our own villain who's going to be doing a lot of these bad things? On day one, we needed the fisherman. What kind of creature was he? I think we went back and forth on what he was a few times. So it was like, do we want him to be just like a rich merchant? Do we want him to be like a devil or a succubus, or so exactly what he went, what he was, flip flop, until when I wrote the adventure. Okay, now we need to have somebody of that level. A Rakshasa is an awesome monster.
It is, and it's perfect for the fisherman, like for a mastermind type villain. That works out. And I keep forgetting that I'm the interviewer here. I'm just like quiet and listening because I'm absorbing everything that you're telling me. I'm just like, okay, am I supposed to stop him? But I want to learn too. I want to know what he wants to say. But
you can stop me, by the way.
I think I should, but I'm not, because I want everything that you're saying is gold right now. But yeah, I guess my last question here, unless we have anything else from the chat, is that, was it fun being in the Moon Chase? Like with all the challenges, the 3 sentences, and of course setting up conventions, meeting people, all that stuff. How was that experience for you?
Mixed bag.
Okay.
The worst part were the actual rules of living Forgotten Realms, and I'll expand upon this. Things I loved. Okay. I was not, and I was never a huge Forgotten Realms fan. Even to this day, it's kind of weird that I'm here going to be saying the exact opposite in 2 minutes. But to me, it's over-defined.
Okay.
Going to Waterdeep, everybody knows what everybody's like. Everybody's going there. So it's over-defined. And then you gave me the Moonshade Isles, and I'm like, sweet! Like 3 paragraphs, I can work on that. So coming up with the adventures, writing the adventures, expanding the storyline, creating the mythology, getting the characters to come back, and the people to either care about them, either they wanted them killed, like you can't stand Daffin. Okay,
Uh,
I succeeded. You can't stand him. Why is he doing this? Well, that's that's the exciting part. I liked writing that. I liked
uh-huh.
working with the authors, many of who were very much huge fans of Forgotten Realms, much more than I ever was,
Uh-huh.
or will be. I could use my knowledge of storyline development, their love of lore, marry the two together, and bring some adventures out that were fun to play.
Nice.
That plus I'm a war gamer, so fourth edition had a very big wargamey aspect
All
to
right.
it. So for me, it was like, ooh, I
Actually,
enjoyed that part.
yeah, one of our sages, Chaos Hammer, was asking like, what's the like fantasy media that you were into during the Moonchase time, or what things that you pulled from that you know you could tell was a big influence during LFR during your time with the Moonshade Isles.
So one of the things I was lucky enough to live in Ireland from 2000 to 2002. Worked over there, loved it. It really gave me that feeling. So why is it always raining? Because there's two weathers in Ireland. It's raining or the rain's about to fall. So I'm like, okay, I could figure that. Now we're talking about, the Moonshade was more like Welsh-ish, but
Mm-hmm.
still,
Right.
there's that. That was one of the big things. I am a huge fan of history, so I drew upon that, like Vikings, again, which I really got I really got into the Viking history that era during my time in Ireland. Dublin was founded by the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I still have the flag of the town. Well, not this one. This is Tennessee, but
Yeah, I
on
was
that
about to say.
window over there.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not going to show it because there's like a whole bunch of.
All good. All
Let's not
good.
show
We
that
believe
part.
you. We believe
Um,
you. Uh huh.
there is that. Uh, those are my big two. Fantasy wise, um, surprisingly, I didn't read a lot of fantasy stuff at the time.
Mm.
My, I'm a Montreal French speaking Montrealer, so when I grew up, I wasn't reading fantasy Lenny and Michael were a lot more into the fantasy literature. Though I think around that time somebody came to me,
Mm-hmm.
one of the playtesters, and you can see their name. I think it was Pam. Pam came over to me. She had this big omnibus of Robert Howard, and she said, "Here, you got to read this. Like, read this now." Oh, I said, "Okay." So I'd have to say, Robert Howard would most likely be what I was into.
Okay.
I read. Um, I'm not a fan of the trilogy format. Okay, this is me putting my old grouchy old man hat.
Uh
I,
huh.
I I don't like the trilogies. There's too much filler, and that goes by to like the Dark Elf trilogy, which I read in the early '90s. I'm like, holy crap, so much filler. Ugh. I just couldn't wait to just turn the pages. And I think at one point I skipped 10 page ahead. And he was still talking about the types of mushrooms.
Mm.
Don't care. Um, I like reading the early novels
Uh huh.
for Forgotten Realms. Azure Bonds is one I really enjoy.
Right.
Was it Azure Bonds? Was it Azure Bonds? Whichever one. It's the one where the girl has the tattoos.
Is that the
Um,
Cormier?
I
Yeah, because I thought it was before. It was like the Flan one, but no, it's not the Flan one.
No, there was a game. Uh, there was a computer game called Curse of the Azure Bonds, which was made into the like an adventure module,
Mm-hmm.
and that was That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. There was someone, the one for Flan I read later. But yeah, I was a lot of the stuff that I like reading to this day is very much historical fiction. I like reading, things that are related. So, what's the rough equivalent of this? Oh, we're doing like a, you know, the Celts meets the Vikings.
Right.
Okay, I could figure that out. That's the basic thing. Next, read everything. I mean, everything that was in the Moonshade, I read, like Alls of the Ever King. The I did not read the Dark Walker on Moonshade because I was not able to find the books at the time. Which,
It's very difficult to
which is
get.
the which is today you could get at the worst case you can find a PDF and buy the book
Right.
later, but in those days like Amazon, it was eBay or bust.
eBay.
I mean, back in the day, when eBay was not a store for people, where people were just selling their stuff
You have to
on
bid,
there.
right? You have to bid, and
Yes,
you have to win to get that book.
when people were bidding, they were not just selling.
Right.
Nowadays it's like, well, what? Oh, look at that price. Ooh, okay.
Okay, not
I'm gonna
anymore.
put the low bid or nothing.
Oh man, dial-up
Uh,
days. All right, we're kind of showing our age here, but yeah, all right. But that's good to know because I think that's all the questions we have. At least now, I feel I can sleep at night now, knowing the questions that we have. After going through the Moonshade Isles, Living Forgotten Realms adventures, and the unanswered questions, now I know what has happened, and I know that Moon 202 and Moon 203 and then up to Moon 205 exists. It's there. There are outlines. There are probably like 2 sentences, but it's there somewhere. And if for some reason your hard drive goes missing, please don't think that it was me at all. All right. Uh, hmm. But yeah, but
yeah.
this is an amazing interview. You made my first uh, uh, Lore Academia special great. JP, thank you very much. And I hope that we can do something together because again, the fisherman, everything that you write, or probably something new altogether. We can collaborate something, and when you're not
Sure.
busy with the new new setting book that you're about to release, then we can do something about that. And I think
Yeah.
I can start to do this as like I interview people and then ask them, do you want to work with me? And since we're on stream, we have a record. Oh wait, no. No,
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That's kind of the way to go. I mean,
right.
a lot of these adventures would be like, I would contact some of the authors who I knew were reliable or who
Uh-huh.
had done work with me during the Living Greyhawk days, and say, hey, would you like to write something for me? Or sometimes, they would say, well, I don't have an idea. So I say, here, I have like 2 sentences. Could you make an adventure out of it?
There's like a
And
true test. Uh-huh.
well, I mean, sometimes you go, the story, story could be as simple as like the PCs go to Gwyneth to rescue a kidnapped, you know, kidnap a young lordling who's
Uh-huh.
decided he was going to go there.
Okay.
Okay, well, all right, yeah. So that you get the idea
Right.
for people who are to come up with an idea. And again, as I said previously, I have not written any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not necessarily married to any one idea. So your idea is most likely better than mine. So me as a storyline director, okay, well, I'm going to send Daffod over there, and he's going to get caught. Now, who did he get caught by? The Fae. Okay, well, I ask you, and you're going to tell me, oh yeah, well, there's this satyr family, and they're kind of doing all this and that, and they're involved in this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, that's better than my 2 Eladrins that kind of showed up and took him off his boat. You
Okay.
know, you could do that, man.
Good
I
to
mean, so
know.
yeah. Oh, I'm looking over some notes I I posted down. Why are kilometers marked in the adventures?
Oh,
Because the rest of the world uses kilometers.
you're right. But it's not gonna happen now. Not in D&D. Not yet.
Well, not
S-
anymore, but I was able to put my kilometers and my
Oh,
Celsius is in there.
oh,
I,
good
I
job. Good job.
I still understand that. Actually, now I went for it's hot, it's cold, it's nice because, well, oh, then somebody goes, oh, it's only like it's in it's 30 degrees Celsius. Well, my character is a half a freak, half like Earth elemental, and I can tolerate the heat up to 150.
Hmm.
It's not really warm for me. Uh, okay, it's hot. so,
Got it.
so
All right. Well,
I mean, dude,
where? Yeah, no, I was gonna say like it. This is gonna happen. I'm sure. We just need a good time, the stars to align. Again, the sun doesn't fall on us, and we're good. But because we have to end this interview, unfortunately, although I think we can extract more lore stuff from you. I can feel it. Where can they find you? Like if they want to reach out, they want to collaborate with you, or they want to know about more of your setting and stuff. I'm posting all the website that you have here in our chat, but please, free to tell
so
everyone.
uh,
Uh,
FoeLegacies.com, FoeLegacies.com is the company's website. Uh, if you look for my name on Amazon or Drive Through or DM's Guild, my name is unique enough that there aren't 20 of them.
mm-hmm.
Uh, we have a Discord. We have a Facebook group for First One's Entertainment. I post my many opinions on my blogs,
Uh-huh.
stuff that I read, um, you know, kind of reviews and kind of book reviews, which I call them.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I read stuff, what I think about them, what's good, what's not good. Um, TV shows, books. Um, I put them all on the blog. So yeah, and email at the worst case is jp at foelegacies.com. So just hit me up anywhere. I mean, I'm fairly easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First One's Entertainment. If you're going to be at Gen Con, all our adventures are going to be called start with legacies in their name. So we have our
Nice.
own group. We're going to be running 40 tables. So we're not
Wow.
as big as BMG, but it is going to be 40 tables of FOE. So there's going to be
That's a lot. Yeah.
3 different adventures for Akamet, 3 different adventures for Olympia. I'm going to run 4 for Osaka, which is the new one. And of those, we will have multi-tables event. If you're familiar with the Adventure League, they're like the epics. But one of the cool things of being smaller is that we can play with the formula a lot more than like a huge room with like that many a lot of people. So since we're smaller, I don't want to say, but last year we had running battles. We had tables competing for the favor. Who do they want to name as the queen of a town? We had some people bound or unbound creature. What's going to happen is you sit down and whatever happens happens. So we had tables that had no clerics, and we had tables that had like 4 clerics, and they're like, this game is super easy. Yeah, but my people are getting their butts kicked here. So, we do that. I mean, if you're interested in anyway, just reach out. I mean, I'm fairly easy to find. Like it's JP Chapleau on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I never used it. So
Yeah, all the links right now,
so
and even the products that you have in Drive Through RPG are in chat, or you can use the command so you can see them. Uh, Last question before we go, just answer it. No explanation needed. what is your favorite isle in the Moonshae Isles?
Ooh.
That's it. No explanation, none. Just say the name of the isle or the location.
Moray.
Yes. Nobody cares about Moray. And that's it for us, everyone. This is the first Lore Academia special with JP Chapleau. Thank you very much for saying yes and for spending almost like 2 hours with us, sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate it. You know that you will come back here, right? Or else the Black Blood
Yes.
Tribe will steal your hard drive. So bring it here so we can start fleshing out those adventures. But yep, thank you very much, JP. See you again.
Thanks.
Make sure
Thanks, everyone.
You go to the websites and yeah, anything you want to say to everyone before we go?
It was a very interesting times running the Living Forgotten Realms. Again, the best part was coming up with the storylines is the part I loved. Working with Michael and Lenny on that storyline and bringing it to the players, at least initially. But after a while, some of the decisions that were made about the rule set just didn't work for me, and I didn't like that. So, what do I like? I mean, again, the Moonshae is awesome because you have so many different things that happen and that they can each happen literally on their own island.
Right.
So you can have a storyline for Gwyneth, a storyline for Oman, a storyline for Moray, for Norland, for the Corin Archipelago, for Alaron, for Snowda. You can have like completely different major storylines that don't have to, it's an orc invasion. Well, everybody in the country goes to attack the orcs. No, if the orcs are only attacking Oman, the rest of the people are not. It's a great thing. It's great that it was that it was not overpopulated with everything that happened.
Right.
That's why I love the Moonshaes. I mean, it was so funny when I sat down for playing Adventure League. It's like, oh, it's playing the Moonshaes. I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote for that. That was awesome.
Now everyone will know, like, hey, you wrote for the Moonshaes, right? But that's it for us, everyone. Thank you very much. We're now gonna go on mute as we go away. And we'll see you next time. See you next week for a continuation of Lore Academia. Bye-bye.
Bye.